Little intro to the video. We're working in field 18 and 19, which are the big terraced fields down by Greg's house. And we have some problems, but we also come up with some solutions. Okay, evening here in Nebraska land. We're going to jump in the Challenger and try to do this harvest in field 18. At least get it started. I have not done this field before. I have no idea what we're going to need to do to get things going. I think we'll try to go around the edge first. And then see if we can put Billy or Greg on finishing it. I might talk a little bit about what our next map's going to be. I've pretty much picked it out. I'm doing a little testing on it right now, just to make sure everything works so we don't have any unpleasant surprises once we get started working on it. We're going to be using some different equipment. It's going to be a little bit different style map. Still an American map, still pretty large size. Well, it looks like we're going to have storms today in Nebraska land. If that dark sky is any indication. We'll come back when we've got a little progress made here. Well, since we're here at the top of the field with the combine, we're going to go ahead and empty out. Seems a shame not to. And yes, I am using Big Bud to tow our chaser bin around with. I'm still trying to decide which way that we're going to run the combine. Back and forth or up and down. I almost think we're going to run it across the edge of the hill. A little bit in line with the terraces that are there. See how that works. Don't know. I've never done this field before, and it's hard to say. It's hard to say. We'll see how it goes. I think we'll have Billy come out and take a whack at it. If there's a good way to do it, he'll probably come up with it. Well, of course, the Gleaner got full at the pretty much the furthest point from field entrance. So now we're going to have to drive all the way around with Big Bud. it did start to bog down a little bit where the lowland is here at the end of the field. I think it's kind of the angle and the width of the header we have. It started to hit dirt on either end with the low spot in the middle, which would be a bad thing in real life if you were farming a field like that. Yeah, you can kind of see the angle there as we come up to the combine. I'm not sure we're going to be able to maneuver Big Bud on this hillside to empty out. This is probably a terrible idea. Oh. I'm going to figure out why this is not emptying. But we finally got to a point where I guess the angle was shallow enough for the combine pipe to trigger over our chaser bin. I noticed that's an interesting animation we've got on the front wheels there. But we'll run over and empty Billy in field 18, since it looks like he's pretty much full as well. We're getting there. It's a little bit of a trip, so we'll check in with you in a little bit. And yeah, this is kind of what I thought was going to happen with these terraces. The computerized worker just does not want to deal with them very well. I think we may have to end up doing 18 and 19 ourselves. Yeah, this random swath's not good either. Okay. Well, I believe we're going to have a little hiatus on field 18. I took over the harvesting from Billy, and I started having problems of the angles of this hillside were unusual enough that both ends of the header were wanting to get stuck, being the header so wide. So this field may have been intended for something a little smaller, or for a forage harvester. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, we'll see if we can figure it out. In the meantime, we'll try to work on field 19 a little bit. Okay, now we're in field 19 with the gleaner, and I think this angle here, once I squat down, you can see the problem I'm having in this field. You can look to the left and right and see that the header is hitting ground. The middle's still up in the air. The wheels are still on the ground trying to drive it along. Being this is a computer game, that's not going to break anything in the combine or the header. In real life, you would definitely not want that to happen. You could easily break something in there. But it is kind of interfering with driving straight on these two fields. Yeah, I guess we're going to have to think about it for a little bit. Okay, we're in our little Mac brand supply truck, headed out to a field to fill up a cedar that Cowboy Andy's been working on. Not quite big enough a cedar that it can do a whole field with one tank. So we'll go out and fill him up with the Mack truck here. And we got close to being done. Not quite the whole field. We'll wait for him to get down here and put some more seed in that horse seeder. Yeah, the boys and I have been sitting around the shop, drinking coffee, talking about field 18 and 19, where we just had problems on the harvest. And we kind of boiled it down to 3 solutions. Our first option is that we already own the Heston forage harvester. And what we would do is just buy the corn head for that and harvest field 18 and 19 as silage. Problems with that is the header for the Heston is 6.5 meters. We're not quite sure if that's going to be narrow enough to navigate around that field. The other problem with that is we have a bunch more silage and only one silage bunker to process it. We might have quite a bit of silage to store somewhere, for the short term at least. Okay, now option 2. Option 2 is we use the harvester that we have, either the Challenger or the Gleaner, and we try to find a narrow corn header that will fit on one of those combines. We're unsure if we can find a small header that's going to fit on those. And option 3 is we just simply buy a small combine with a small header. Now we have a lot of money, but even a small combine is going to cost maybe a couple of $100,000. So that's what we've been talking about on how to solve our field 18 and 19 problems. Alright, about 5:30 in the morning here, and we're gonna try option 2 that we discussed. I've got a 4.5 meter corn header for a New Holland, and we're gonna see if it's gonna fit on the Challenger. Oh, we're getting the attached dialogue. Let's see. Well, it hooks up. Let's see. And it seems to want to unfold. Let's see if it acts like it's gonna start up for us. Looks like it might. So we'll go back to 18 and 19, see if we can get some corn harvested. Well, I've got Boots in the cab with me. He's driving. It looks like our header is picking up corn. We're doing straight lines, so we may have this on the left to clean up later. We'll see on this slope whether Boots can keep her straight. Oof. Alright, we'll come back in a little bit and check on things. Well, we're going to go empty Boots out, and we switched him around. He's working on this continuous bottom section on field 18. I believe we're probably going to have to do some of those more difficult sections by ourselves in between the terraces, but we'll see how that goes. Get boots turned around here, empty them out. I think it is a little bit too complicated a field for the farming simulator hired worker function to really trying to figure out where it's going. It's an interesting shape, and the terraces are a nice idea for realism, but I would kind of count on any of these terraced fields as something I would want to do with a human. Well, the sunrise is nice at least. All right. Okay, here in field 18, and we've done just about as much as we can do with the computer worker. Obviously, there's not another real person doing this. Harvesting, it's not multiplayer, so I'm using the computer hire worker function when I pretend to hand things off to one of my helpers. And this sort of complicated field, we've had to move the harvester around a little bit, but managed to get most of the corn. Just a few big patches that we'll probably harvest up ourselves and finish up here. Yeah, a couple of big patches there. Really not as much as I thought would be left for me to do. I don't think there's much here at the top end at all. A little bit. Okay.